Hi there, welcome back. I think we're at the start of shelf 7, first video. And this shelf begins with some Hartlands. I really do not collect Hartlands. I have a few scattered running around, but at the Black Horse Ranch dispersal, I decided I'd pick up a few for my collection just because I thought they were fun. So this is the Hartland 9-inch weanling in red roan leopard. I think all of these are fairly modern of the Hartlands. This is the Hartland 9-inch Arab in dapple gray. I think these were all considered Hartland collectibles, although this one could be an older one. This is the Hartland 9-inch Thoroughbred in sandy bay. And then this is the Hartland 11-inch Grazing Mare in brown. She just amuses me for some reason because she is so homely, but I think she's cute. And then finally the Hartland 9-inch Saddlebred in dark dapple gray. This is a really cool color. I really like how they did the dapple grays for the Hartlands. And I like their 9-inch series, so that's probably why I picked up most of these guys. They also have their lovely Black Horse Ranch little cards, collectible cards that go with them. So then we'll move back to Breyers. This is a Breyerfest horse from a couple of years ago. I don't remember which year it was, but this year was the year that Breyer moved their production to China. I don't keep a lot of the Breyerfest celebration horses anymore, but I kept this one because I was doing pickups for friends. And I noticed that of the ones that I picked up, most of them had made in China on their box, but this one had made in the USA, so I don't know if it was a box mix-up, but that is why I decided to keep this guy. Then we have, I wish I could remember the name of this mold. I love these bases. These are absolutely wonderful, so much better than the little Breyer plastic bases. I do encourage getting these. This is a raffle model from a couple of years ago. I don't remember if he's dated. He's not dated on his belly, but he is a raffle model that I won at Breyerfest a couple of years ago, and they did an absolutely lovely job with the pinto markings and the mapping. It's very much like the mosaic of the connoisseur horses, so he's a very cool, very scarce horse. I think they only made 20 or 26 of the raffle models. This is Bright Zip, John Lyon's horse on the San Domingo mold. He is a Breyerfest horse from 94, 95. It was one of the first Breyerfests that I went to, and I really like their combination of splatter dappling and then the splatter Appaloosa, so I keep him because I have a soft spot. I like that mold. He looks very cute. And here we have another Breyerfest celebration model that I don't keep, but here I am keeping one. This was the, I don't know how you pronounce it, Magdalena Marchador horse, sculpted by Sarah Makevich. I'm not a big fan of the dappling that they did, but I really think the mold is very stylish and a good example of that actual breed. I have seen pictures of that breed, and I really can't wait to see him in other colors, but since it's kind of the first Sarah Makevich Breyer, that's why I keep him for that reason. The next one is just a, gosh, what's his name? This is the Justin Morgan mold, but this run is called Beautiful Jim Key, and he came in a nice commemorative box with a softback book about his life. Jim Key was a very cool horse, I think from the late 1800s. He was one of the so-called smart horses that went out on tour with his owners. And I loved the book so much. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. Go read Beautiful Jim Key. And that's why I keep this mold, is strictly because I loved the book so much. Next we have a chalky performance horse. This is also out of the Black Horse Ranch collection, and this is probably the best of the chalkies that you can see the color on, because you can see the contrast with the white of the chalkiness and then where the paint is applied over the top of it. Again, I really like the difference with the splatter dapple and then the splatter Appaloosa. So this just kind of hits a bunch of different great points with me on color. And he's also in nice condition, and he's a Black Horse Ranch piece. Then we have one of the horses that all of us as collectors lost our minds over, the Valergo mold. This was the special run from Breyerfest a year or two ago, and he came in glossy and matte. I got one of each on my draw, and I compared them, and I really liked the dappling on the matte better, so I chose to keep the matte, and the glossy went off and was rehomed. I think it's a great mold, and I'm very excited that Breyer's doing some of these real performance action poses. This is another one that all of us collectors lost our collective minds over. This is Bridget, and I'm sorry I'm going to pronounce it terribly. Bridget. Sculpt. This is Alborozo. He was a Breyerfest horse from a couple of years ago, celebration model. And when they made him and announced him, they said they were going to break the mold. Now we know they broke it in traditional, but he is being produced as a stablemate. Very cool mold, very accurate, very active, very awesome. And so I think I have one or two more in boxes in the shelves just because I think he's so cool. And we're never going to get him again as a traditional plastic horse because they have broken the mold on Valergo. This guy, now we're going to get to some cool vintage stuff. This is a Fury Prancer with the rider, and he is actually a music box. So the music boxes were produced again as a special for Christmas for Sears and Montgomery Ward and that kind of thing. And so they're very scarce. So if you ever see a Fury Prancer from the show side or this side, and he just looks like a common Fury Prancer, always go and check him out and look at the other side to see if there's one of these little areas for you to put your key, and then you would turn it and then he would play music. So this guy plays Home on the Range. I haven't turned him on in a long time, but back when I got him, he still played. And then we'll finish up until next week or until the next video with this guy. This is a porcelain, true fired porcelain. So he's pretty fragile. I'm going to see if I can make a little bit more room to get him out because I want you to see him. He's really cool. This is the Parade Saddlebred, and so he is actual fired porcelain. I can't remember who sculpted him, probably Kathleen Moody. It was a series that they did of performance horses. We saw the Arabian mare a couple of weeks ago. I have the Indian pony somewhere, but it's packed away evidently because she's not on the shelves. And then this guy, the Saddlebred, in full Saddlebred tack. So most of this tack is actually molded on except for this piece, and then the tapaderos are actually put on afterwards. But all the rest of this, the flowers and the saddle, oh, and the reins are probably applied afterwards. But it's a very cool piece, very colorful, and a lot of work to make. So this is a really awesome piece, and I'm very excited to have her because she's scarce and hard to come by because she's pretty fragile with all the little bits sticking out and the little bits of mane and the ears and the mane and the tail and so on. So anyway, I'm going to readjust and we'll start back up next week with a couple more traditional Breyer horses. Hope you join me then. Thank you much.